Hello everyone, welcome back to your latest weather update. Today we'll actually be talking about the tropics, where we have as many as 2 tropical systems over the central and eastern Atlantic that we're currently monitoring, as they have the potential to actually develop into a subtropical cyclone, which actually makes them named storms. One of them actually has a majority chance of becoming a tropical depression over the weekend, so really as soon as tomorrow, which is actually the disturbance further east off the coast of Africa here. Keep in mind that the setup we have here that I'll actually discuss in a moment is actually opening the door for some considerable development over the weekend and into next week for both tropical waves. But as the first one I mentioned here, that's easing off the coast of Africa, this one actually has a better chance of developing as it really departs off to the west. But the environment will actually tap into this here and air layer here and bring in more of a dry air mass. As you can see here though, actually the precipitous water values could actually reach, could actually drop down to an inch here, which is actually below the climatological value for this time of year, especially in a hurricane season, which is what we're in right now. But obviously the peak month is actually really in September, but we're definitely getting there. These conditions are actually expected to extend toward land by early Tuesday here. If we actually just fast forward, this is the day we're looking at where it can actually we could actually reach the Lesser Antilles here. But then if we actually fast forward even later on Tuesday, they actually move into Wednesday here. We see this strong tropical wave actually approach the area and bring in that moist air with it. You can see we have a lot of rain scattered across the region as well, bringing a lot of those downpours. But then later on Tuesday here, as you actually see, if we just fast forward a bit, you see that this strong tropical wave is actually expected to approach the area, bringing a lot of this moist air with it, as opposed to this dry air you just saw earlier on Monday and early Tuesday. But as you move into later Tuesday, we can see it really begins to move in onto the region and bring in a lot of this rain as well. We see that a lot of this moisture just move in the Lesser Antilles. So as you can see here, this is the GFS model. As you can see here, the GFS model is showing really a spike in those precipitous water values, really around 2 inches here. Maybe 2.5 inches actually. It's really associated with this feature. Then again, there are always some discrepancies in timing. You can see that the GFS here is actually being a little faster than the European. But we actually do with the GFS actually depicting this system to really move in through the region a little quicker than the European model. See here, this is actually on Tuesday morning. You can really see that this heavy rain is really beginning to enter the region on these islands here, possibly even a little more towards Puerto Rico as well. See, it's really moving in here, but it's actually moved to the European model at around on Tuesday morning as well. You can see it's not quite there yet. It actually is just staying off a little further towards the Atlantic coast. But regardless, for Tuesday and Wednesday, widespread shower and thunderstorm activity is still anticipated for these islands. As you can see, it's really not much of a difference here. You can see that it's still really, by Tuesday morning, we're expected to see rain. As early as Tuesday morning, we're expected to see rain in the islands. But on the Euro model, we're actually not quite expected to see rain at that time just yet. You can see here in the Euro model, the rain might reach the region just yet. You can see here, this is actually the center of low pressure here. On the Euro, wherever I'm hovering over. But as you can see on the GFS model, it appears to be right here, a little more northwestward. Again, not by too much, but it appears to be right here over the islands. As you can see here on the Euro model, it's still quite a ways from the islands, but still, especially by later Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be seeing quite a lot of rain. As a result, we may even see flooding and rapid rises along rivers and streams possible with this tropical wave. Since the event is still 4 to 5 days away, the confidence in the forecast is, I'd say, moderate. Again, it's not a very drastic difference between the two models. By Thursday, the tropical wave really just moves out of the region here and gets closer to Puerto Rico and Cuba, and even gets closer to the U.S. We still see that lingering moisture that will actually result with an additional round of showers here in the region. However, this layer of moisture will actually be shallow, really just confined to the lower levels of the atmosphere. Thus, showers should actually really just diminish in coverage and intensity. It's really noticeable here if we just fast forward here. By Friday, though, a drier air mass approaches once again. If we actually just fast forward here right to Friday, again, this is on Tuesday. We see we see ample moisture move its way through the region. Actually, really excessive moisture, bringing a lot of this rain. But as we actually move a little closer to Friday, by the end of the week, we see this drier air mass work its way into the region once again. This is actually bringing more fair conditions. But then again, this will actually not last, as another tropical wave will actually reach the northeastern Caribbean by next weekend. See, this is around Friday, but if we actually move over to Saturday and Sunday, once again we see this moisture work its way back into the region here. This is when we can actually see a second tropical wave move through. Although, as you can see here, the GFS actually kind of projects it to be just a little more northeast. See, this is what we're looking at here, this low pressure. If we actually move closer towards the weekend, we can see that it still has a part in bringing a lot of that moisture in, but it actually appears to be more northeast. So if this one were to impact the U.S., it may actually have a different track than the last one. But then again, it really is still too early to determine. But yeah, guys, that's right. We actually have a second tropical wave. National Hurricane Center highlighted these two regions of disturbed weather. One is one we're looking at right now. It's over the central Atlantic region. But then the other, which is the one we just reviewed, the one that's actually expected to intensify more rapidly than this one, is really south of the Cape Verde Islands off of Africa. But the one we're looking at right now actually is a 20% chance of development in the next 5 days. But the ladders that I mentioned, the one that's actually expected to develop more quickly, is has a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days. So as you can see there, the one I just reviewed actually has a much more better chance of developing and really possibly becoming a tropical depression. And if it does, I believe it'll actually be named tropical depression Fred. I also feel like it's actually important to know that we're finally seeing some of this action in the Atlantic tropics right now in August, which is really the start of what is likely to be a busy Atlantic hurricane season this year. Then again, as I said earlier, we do have this good setup here that actually advocates signs of some noteworthy development. This trend is actually expected to extend for quite a while here, according to these models here. This slew of overlapping atmospheric features should really just plot a busy season here from mid to late August. Then again, September marks the historical peak of hurricane season. As you can see here, this is actually a wide view of the tropical Atlantic. And the second system here, which is not really expected to develop until later next week. You can see here we don't really have much development. But if we actually get closer to the coast of Africa, we could really see some of these storms beginning to brew, and some of the more mid-level spin. But as we get later in the next week, we could actually possibly see this system right here develop into something such as this, and then also become a tropical depression. Again, it's really too early to determine just yet. Now, this first one here, we're actually seeing just just a couple of scattered rain showers right now over the central Atlantic. This is actually located about 900 miles east of the Lesser Antilles this morning, according to the National Hurricane Center, which is also moving slowly west and gradually developing. These models that you're seeing right now actually suggest that this is developing mid-level spin at the same latitude towards the Leeward Islands here. If you actually fast forward, again, I really pay attention to this one I just went over, just south of the Verde Islands. Off the coast of Africa. We're actually looking at this one in the central Atlantic. And if we actually look at this one, we can see it'll actually be really energized by a weak trough of low pressures swinging towards the system's north. If we actually just fast forward here, we could really see this actually transpire as the trough influences the spin. This should actually help really consolidate that system's vorticity or spin as we actually fast forward all the way into Tuesday as it approaches the Leeward Islands. Then again, impacts are far from certain that the system for now remains a loosely contained clump of clouds and showers. If it is able to organize more effectively and expeditiously, the islands could actually expect a dose of heavy rain with some brief gusty squalls. Really, it's a late Monday through the Tuesday time frame. But if we actually once again compare the GFS to the Euro model, we could actually see that so far the American GFS model is actually more confident in the simulations of the system's evolution than what is actually depicted by the European model. As you can see here, this one actually moves much more north than what the previous one was heading, which was actually towards the Lesser Antilles. Again, it's actually expecting to move more north. And this is the GFS here. It's actually more confident as far as development goes. If you actually move to the European model, we track this one right here over the Central Atlantic. We can see that we're not really seeing much development here on the European model. Really, almost just dissipates on this one. Whereas on the GFS, you could really see it begin to kind of just snowball here as it moves further westward. Or should I say northwestward? But as we actually move back to the more impressive system, it's pushing offshore of Africa at the moment, which is actually known as it's actually disturbance number 1 on here. On my little weather report, I actually have it labeled as disturbance number 2. But according to the National Hurricane Center, we observed that it's actually west of Guinea-Bissau and south of Cape Verde. It is also moving west, but appears to, as I said earlier, it's more likely to mature in the coming days. But anyway, guys, I'm now going to conclude this update. I'm just really informing you all that the tropics and the Atlantic are finally beginning to be more active as opposed to the past week or so, when we really haven't seen much activity. But keep in mind that it is really too early to determine whether or not this even makes an impact in the U.S. Either way, it is possible that this first one here will actually become Tropical Depression Fred. And if this one were to become a Tropical Depression, which is less likely but still possible, this would actually become Tropical Depression Grace. So we really have to just keep monitoring this and just see what's going to happen here in the next coming days, especially after this weekend and during this weekend, especially with this first one here. So I hope you all enjoyed this tropical update. I'll try to keep you guys updated on the weather, and I'll see you in the next one.